All right, guys, we are on vacation right now. I am traveling with the hubby and the kiddos, and I wanted to share with you some of the travel tips that I have that have helped me in traveling with the kids. We've been traveling with Jake since he's been 5 days old, and Jordy's been traveling just since a few months old. I'm going to be sharing with you today 10 tips on how to make traveling easier with your kiddos and for the mama that doesn't want to bring a lot of stuff with her to travel but wants to maximize her traveling and vacation time. So comment below, like this video. Let's jump into these 10 tips. All right, guys, so tip number 1 is ask for a crib from the hotel. This crib here, we didn't bring this with us, and this crib is from the hotel. They brought this up. It had the bedding, everything ready to go. So ask for the crib in your hotel room. I would call ahead of time to make sure that this is available, because not all hotels will have this, but most of them do. When we travel internationally, they always have, no matter where we stay, they always have a crib available. So Jordy, this one is actually on wheels, so you can see it's really easy to move. And Jordy just stays in the crib. We also, this is tip number 2, we bring our sound machine. So anywhere we go, we bring the sound machine with us. So that just muffles the noise. We can be out in the other room watching a video once we put Jordy down. And then also you can see here, this is kind of like another bonus tip. The room has like those blackout shades. So this is kind of like his setup here. He's got the sound machine right next to the crib, all the binkies in the crib with the blackout lights, and it's the perfect setup. So you want to make sure, again, to call ahead of time to make sure that they have a crib available, and this will work out perfect when you travel. Okay, tip number 3, when you travel, bring with you everything on strings. So this is actually one of those pacifier strings, and you just loop the pacifier here on the end. This is great so, you know, pacifiers aren't falling on the floor and getting dirty. And then we also sometimes will just like attach this to the blanket that they use. So the blanket and the binky are all together. And again, everything stays together. It doesn't get dirty. These are the best for traveling, and also at home. We use these everywhere. So get yourself a bunch of these, and then you'll make sure that you don't lose any binkies and everything stays nice and clean. All right, guys, tip number 4, whenever we travel, we always bring with us the Tylenol, the children's Tylenol, and the infant Tylenol, because you never know when your kiddos are going to get sick. You never know when they're gonna need it. Actually, both of our kids have been sick for probably the past 2 or 3 weeks. So even if they're not sick, we always just bring this for the plane ride. We bring it for them because you never know also if you're traveling internationally, if you're gonna have access or if you're gonna be able to get the Tylenol that they're used to having at home. So make sure that you pack the Tylenol. For us, we have the infants and the kids with the little syringes and also the little cups that come with it for measuring, and just bring this with you. We check it because sometimes you can't actually put it in your bag as a carry-on. Internationally, that's usually always a problem. So check that in the bag and make sure that you always have that with you. Okay, so another tip I want to share with you guys is we have a spare monitor. So this we hook up wherever we go when we're traveling, so we don't have to take it out of Jordan's room and then have to hook it back up when we get home. So as you can see, we have everything from sippy cups from home to the bottles, and then also a monitor, but this is like the travel monitor. So it's nice to just get an extra set of these so you don't have to plug and unplug and just set everything up once you get back home. This is dedicated as just our travel monitor. This was actually Jake's old monitor that was in his room. So we do have 2 pairs. We have like 2 sets of these. So this now becomes a travel monitor, and then Jordy just has his regular monitor that's in his room. So anything that you can bring extra, like extra bottles, extra sippy cups, extra monitor, is great to have just as your travel set. Okay, so my next tip that I want to share with you guys is always bring snacks along for the kiddos in the clear plastic bags. A great tip that I just found out recently was not to bring necessarily lollipops or like the little suckers for the kids, but you want to bring fruit snacks. And the reason why they say to bring fruit snacks is because the kids are chewing and constantly swallowing versus like a lollipop or a mint or something like that. So we've been packing fruit snacks, especially because the kids are a little under the weather. It's great to have. So we have these like Welch's fruit snacks. We have these organic raspberry lemonade, like fruit bars, any of this kind of stuff that they have to be chewing and not necessarily just like licking. Is great for them to have on the plane as you're going up and coming down, for the pressure is really great. So make sure you pack those in a plastic bag somewhere where you can access them easily and you can get to it. We put ours in the diaper bag, and then I also pack Jake, like he brings a little carry-on, and then that carry-on we also put all of the snacks so he knows where it is. So again, when you pack something, know exactly where it is so you have easy access to it and you're not trying to fumble around the plane while you're going up or down trying to look for everything. You guys, is when you have kids, I know the iPads aren't necessarily ideal when you're at home, and giving them the iPad, we try and limit screen time where we can, but for traveling, this is great. And I want to remind you of a couple things when you're traveling. So number one, obviously make sure it's charged. I know that sounds like a no-brainer, but there's times when we use the iPad and it's not charged because the kids have it and they hide it and you don't know where it is. So always make sure that the iPad is charged up when you are ready to go traveling. The second thing I want to tell you that we do is we download all of the videos that the kids like, all the videos like the songs, you know, any of that kind of stuff, because when you're on the plane and you don't have Wi-Fi or you're not connected to the Wi-Fi or you can't be, you need to have the videos actually downloaded. So we have Disney Plus, and then with Disney Plus, we actually download the video right on the app. And then with things like YouTube, we just download it right from YouTube. So when you're up in the air and you don't have Wi-Fi, if you can't access it, it's super easy, especially when you need it really fast. Moms, you know what I'm talking about. It's really easy to just go to the app, pull it up, and then your videos or your music are right there. Okay, so a few other things I want to talk about that really help us when we travel is keeping the same schedule. I know if you're traveling internationally, or if you're going from like East Coast to West Coast, or even West Coast to East Coast, it's really hard because of the time change. But what we try and do is keep the kids on the same schedule and then gradually bump it ahead or back however we need to adjust. But keep them on the same schedule. Like we're right now in Mexico, you can see beautiful Mexico, and there's not a time change for us. But if there were, like we were just in Europe, we were in Spain, there is a time change. So with that time change, we try and adjust as needed. Also, really great tips and advice for traveling with kids is try and either use that plane time to keep them awake longer or to allow them to sleep a little bit more so they can get adjusted to where you're going. So like when we were going to Europe, what we did was we actually took an overnight flight. So on the overnight flight, they were able to sleep like their normal schedule. And then when we landed, we were actually already acclimated to the schedule and the time of Europe. So it doesn't work 100% of the time, but it does help. Same thing with going back. You try and stay up and keep yourself awake and keep the kids watching movies or just kind of running around the plane up and going, just so you know, when you get to where you're going, they're somewhat adjusted to the time where you are arriving. So make sure, again, that just with the time changes and all of that, you kind of know ahead of time what your game plan is going into it. Okay, so here is a tip for all of the mamas out there who bring all the things with you, the curling irons, the straighteners, all the makeup and all the products and everything. A really great tip, and this is awesome if you have help when you travel, whether it's your spouse or partner. We're traveling with our in-laws and a nanny, but specifically if you bring a lot of your hair products with you when you travel, a great way to alleviate packing all of that stuff is just bring the essentials that you know you're gonna need, and then go to the spa and let them do a wash and a blowout. For me, I wash my hair probably every 3 days or so I can get away with just like touching it up, putting some curls in it, something like that with a curling iron. And that's all I brought. I just brought my curling iron with me. I didn't bring a straightener, I didn't bring a blow dryer, because usually they typically have a blow dryer in the hotel as well. So just bring your one tool that you know you're gonna need, and then if you have to do a wash, go to the salon, let them wash it, blow it out, style it, and then that'll last you a couple more days. All right, guys, so there you have it. There are 10 of my favorite travel tips, whether it's for you, for the baby, for the toddler, for your spouse, because we all know traveling is a project, and if you have kids, sometimes it's more of a project than it is fun. But if you know what you're packing, if you know where you're going, and you can kind of forecast what's going to happen, it makes it a whole lot easier. So comment below, let me know if these tips have helped you. Let me know your best tips. Comment below and let the other moms know what are some of your favorite travel hacks or tips, because we know we could all use more of that. So like this video, share it with a mom who's traveling, and I'll see you on the next one.